Now with summer approaching and the days getting longer, many people are interested in losing weight, and we're all bombarded by ads for various diets, celebrity body transformations and YouTube videos of people showing us their diet strategy for summer. And although a lot of advice on YouTube is good and some of the diets might be helpful, most people will gravitate to whatever promises the most amount of weight lost in the shortest time period. Every year, many people lose a lot of weight with these crash diets. However, a huge percentage of them will gain back the weight in no time. If you just want to lose 5 kilos for an event like a wedding, then go ahead. But for most people that are interested in prolonged weight loss, crash diets are not the way to go because they are not sustainable. And crash dieting down to the goal weight and then switching to a different strategy doesn't go as planned most of the time. Almost all diets work in the beginning because from a physiological point of view, losing weight is pretty easy. Eat less, then you expand. The problem is that we're not simple input-output machines with unlimited amounts of willpower. For one, our output can change depending on the input. But much more important than that, we have feelings, stress, and cravings. And at some point in the diet, your mental strength will be down. Eating also often has a social aspect to it. And at a party or at a restaurant, there might not be the perfect meal that fits your diet. So even though calories in, calories out works and the laws of thermodynamics certainly apply to you,
in this house we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
It's not all that you should think about. And just as a side note, yes, all diets that work because of a calorie deficit. We'll discuss the 5 steps in a second, but the steps themselves are not all that matters. It's also how you go about implementing them. If you want to change your body, and you want the change to last, you need to make it easy for yourself. And you do that not by completely changing what you eat and how much you exercise from one day to the next, but by slowly but surely building new good habits. Another thing to keep in mind is that it's not about being perfect. And stalling or even going a few steps back is not the end of the world. If you go out and eat a ton of junk food, or you almost get no activity for a whole week, that's not what we want, of course, but it's also not that bad. What is bad is having a bad day, thinking it will never work, and then making every day into a bad day. Give it your best. If you fall off for a day, that's okay, but don't make the bad day into a bad week and into a bad month. The first thing you want to focus on is to move more. My recommendation would be to just walk more throughout the day. Try to increase your steps to at least 6,000 and then increase them by 1,000 more every week for a couple of weeks. Walking more will burn some calories, of course, and activity is good for the heart. What's more, enough activity is also shown to help the body with hunger signals. Activity, and especially going for a walk outside, is also great for helping you feel happy. And even though losing weight is a bodily thing, your mental health is very important. You should also start logging your own weight. Your body weight fluctuates quite a bit from day to day, so just weighing yourself once might not be representative. So step on the scale every day or every other day. And keep in mind that if it's up or down by 1 or 2 kilos in a day, that doesn't mean anything really. Don't think too much about the number on the scale. Many people feel bad if the weight is not what they want it to be. First up, it's important to know that your weight has nothing to do with your worth. Secondly, we all start somewhere. And knowing where you are is important to help you to get to where you want to be. So don't beat yourself up if the current number is not what you wished for. Make sure to weigh yourself under the same circumstances every day. It's best to weigh yourself right after you get out of bed and before you eat or drink anything. Getting enough daily steps in and regularly weighing yourself is also something you can do for the long run, so that you don't become inactive and so that you always know where your weight is at. The first step is also the easiest step, and that's a good thing. We want the start to be easy so that we get into a groove and into a positive mindset. Walking takes some time, of course, and stepping on the scale might mean overcoming some fears. But in step 1, we are not restricting anything regarding food, and also we don't need to get through a tough workout. Moving more should come fairly effortlessly, and after a few weeks, the short daily walks will just be part of your day. And maybe you will already be losing some weight, but if not, don't worry, it's just step 1. Next up, it's time to learn what and how much you're actually eating. Most of us are really bad at guessing how much we eat, so instead of guessing, let's just measure it by tracking calories. That takes some time, of course, and there is no need to track forever, but tracking allows you to know how much you're currently consuming. And on the way, you will also learn how much macro and micronutrients are in what food. And that is extremely valuable. So even just doing it for a short period of time has great benefits. Of course, we don't eat the same amount every day, so tracking for at least 10 days where you eat as you normally would makes a lot of sense. The average of these days should then come very close to your actual total daily energy expenditure. You should also try to track as precisely as you can and track everything. Even drinks apart from water, tea and black coffee, and even the cookies you have as a midnight snack. Counting everything precisely every day takes quite some time, of course. And for many people, it's not sustainable. The thing is, it doesn't need to be sustainable. Moving enough throughout the day, as we discussed in step 1, is something you should do forever. But tracking calories is something to do for a certain period of time, and then you can stop. Even if you stop tracking calories after a month or 2, you will still have gained some benefits from it. And just like in step 1, we are still not restricting anything we eat. Walking for about an hour every day and regularly stepping on the scale is already a habit. And now you also know what your expenditure is and you have a better feel for how calorie dense different foods are. Now is a great time to start the real weight loss. Now it's time to start eating less. Remember, the goal is to lose weight over the long term and keep it off. It doesn't matter if it takes a bit longer, if that means that it's easier and more sustainable. So taking it slowly is perfectly fine. A good goal is to lose somewhere between 0.5 and 1% of your body weight per week, and roughly a 500 calorie deficit is a good way to start. In order to not make a huge change, it makes sense to just eat as you normally would, but just a bit less. Changing what you eat is a big thing, and eating less is hard. So in order to make it easy for ourselves, we just focus on one of the two, the eating less part, in this step. At first, it makes sense to still track all your food. This way you can be sure that you're actually eating less. After a week or 2, when you get a feel for it, it's fine to stop tracking and see if you can also manage to eat less without tracking. You can try to just weigh out the foods that have a lot of calories, like pasta, sweets and oils, in order to not eat too much of them. Because chances are you're not going to overeat on broccoli. Or you can also try strategies like time-restricted feeding, which is often called intermittent fasting. Choose whichever strategy comes easiest to you. Step 3 is a lot more difficult than the first 2, because we're actually restricting something, how much we eat. But after a few weeks, you will have lost quite a bit of weight already. With this strategy, you will not lose 5 kilos a week. But that's not the goal. The goal is to make the weight loss easy and sustainable. If after a week or 2 you haven't lost any weight, then you might still be at maintenance calories. So just decrease the calories by a bit more. So eat a bit less with or without tracking calories, and don't forget to still get your daily steps in. Eating less is not necessarily something to do forever. If you want to lose weight, then you need to eat less. And chances are that you will still eat a bit less than now if you're at a lower body weight in the future. But if you increase your activity and your muscle mass, you might also be eating more than now, even if you're at a lower body weight. But as long as you want to lose weight, you need to be in some sort of calorie deficit. This is a hard step, so good job for sticking to it. Now, with more daily activity and steps, and a bit less body weight than you used to have, it's time to start working out. When losing weight, it's often the case that you have to adjust your calories down, because you're a smaller person and you also might be unintentionally moving less. Eating less and less, however, is not fun. So sometimes it makes more sense to focus on expanding more rather than on eating less and less. And now that you're fitter than at the start, it's a great time to do some working out. Find something you enjoy and do some sports 2 times a week. It would be great if you have 1 weight training session and 1 cardio session, but if you don't like going to gym, just find something you enjoy. Go hiking, go on a bike ride with a friend, start a team sport, or go rock climbing. Just find something you enjoy. Most people would benefit greatly from some weight training. But the fact of the matter is that the most important thing is that you find something you enjoy so that you can do it for the long run. Now that you're doing more sports, it's also a good idea to increase your protein consumption to something like 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. So for an 80 kilo person, that is around 128 grams of protein per day. Now you might wonder why exercising only comes up now. You'd think that exercising is the first thing to focus on if you want to lose weight. And you've got a point. But the thing is, in step 1, with increasing our activity, we are already exercising somewhat, just at a very low intensity. And that's by design. The low intensity makes it easy for you if you're not that fit, and it also makes it easier to stick to because it's just not that much effort. So, in a sense, we're exercising from the start, and now we're exercising hard a few times a week. If working out is already part of your weekly routine, of course you can do it from the start. But if you're not used to it and you're not that fit, it makes sense to first increase your fitness by something low intensity, like we discussed in step 1. And depending on what sport you want to do, having already lost a bit of weight can be quite helpful. Working out is definitely something you can and should do for the long run. A lot of diets start by completely changing what you eat. That works very well in the beginning, but once you come back to how you used to eat, usually the weight also comes back. Apart from eating a bit less, but still the same thing, and maybe increasing your protein intake by a little bit, you're still eating how you used to eat, so there will be no huge backlash. We are changing what we're eating not to start the weight loss, but to make it a bit easier in the later stages. Depending on what you eat right now, you may change a lot of things or almost nothing. If you need to change a lot, do it one step at a time. Like with everything else, try to make it into a habit and only change one thing if the thing you changed before is already effortless. What's healthy is hotly debated, so I will not give you a list of healthy and unhealthy foods. I'm just gonna say that most people would benefit from increasing their vegetable consumption. Vegetables have a lot of fiber and many micronutrients, and they're also not very calorie dense and thus very filling. And of course, limiting the amount of alcohol and processed foods you consume is also a good idea for weight loss and for health reasons. So, to sum the whole thing up, if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit. And if you want easy and lasting weight loss, then it's a good idea to focus on building good habits rather than going on the newest crash diet. Good habits will make the whole journey almost effortless. Daily walks are your friend, and don't forget to eat your veggies. So that was the video. It really took quite a while to make. When I started, summer was barely approaching and now it's basically here. If you have enjoyed it, it would mean a ton if you could leave a comment. I really love making these videos, but it sucks if I feel like I'm reaching nobody. So if I reached you, please let me know in the comments. Of course, you can also leave a like, subscribe, click the bell thing and all that other YouTube stuff. But leaving a comment and letting me know that somebody is truly watching the videos would mean a lot to me. And as always, you're very welcome to leave me some criticism down in the comments below. This was Fred. Thanks for watching.